This is Diablo 4's very first season, and the first step of our live service journey.
Sanctuary is still reeling from the fallout of Lilith's return. People are broken and unsure where to turn for hope.
Amidst the turmoil, a new threat has emerged, and it's infecting the land.
It's up to our players to seek out the source of this corruption and put a stop to it in Diablo 4's first season, the season of the Malignant.
We're seeing some new aberrations of Lilith's corruption.
An infection is now affecting all manners of creatures.
It's basically causing any sort of hatred, any sort of demonic energy inside of them to burst forth and to consume them alive, body and soul.
We call these new monsters the Malignant.
The Malignant are pure hatred.
They're succumbing to Lilith's corruption in a way that we haven't seen before. Now, what's worse is this corruption is actually spreading. So the only person that seems to have any idea what's going on is this guy named Cormand.
Cormand was a priest of the Cathedral of Light. He is young, he's idealistic, he is doing what he can to try to help the people that he cares about.
Cormand has been on his own solo journey to find out how to stop the Malignant.
And he's desperately asking the player for help.
He gives a sense of hope to Sanctuary.
I swear, we will end this nightmare.
He's found a rather interesting artifact from a bygone era, we call cages of binding. These cages allow the player to extract the corruption that the Malignant represents from the creatures that they come across, and then combat it directly.
Once you defeat a Malignant monster, its heart will appear. If you choose to trap the heart, that's where the challenge begins. A more powerful version of the Malignant monster will appear. And once you defeat that version, then you get a caged heart that you can socket into your amulets and rings. The amulet or ring will have a colored socket to correspond to the color of the caged heart.
You're really going to want to get these Malignant hearts. In them are crazy strong legendary powers that are just going to change the way you play. They're going to influence your builds. They're going to expand upon the opportunities that you would have otherwise had in the base game.
These powers are going to be the difference between victory and defeat while the players are exploring Sanctuary.
It's another layer of power customization.
As the player is wandering through Sanctuary, they're going to find signs of the Malignants everywhere they go. And then also they'll find new seasonal dungeons that we call Malignant Tunnels.
Malignant tunnels are basically lairs for the Malignant. They all have conglomerated to these locations.
Malignant Tunnels are shorter, punchier dungeons that players can experience in Season 1, and they're very good places to hunt for Malignant hearts.
It's a big infested cave with all kinds of dark corners.
They feel cramped, they feel gross, and they probably smell awful.
At the end of these tunnels, players will find one of our events called Malignant Outgrowth. The Malignant have wandered down to the bottom of these tunnels and are just like now festering and like a pustule at the end of the tunnel.
These are concentrations of the Malignant corruption that has been spreading throughout Sanctuary. Players can take a craftable item they can make with Cormand, called an Invoker.
It kind of looks like a devilish syringe or a turkey baster from hell.
You'll take this thing and stab it into the outgrowth, at which point you will invoke or summon forth the Malignant of your choosing.
This is how players get some of the most powerful Malignant hearts available in Season 1. Diablo 4 is a really big game, with lots of ways for players to grow their power.
When we were discussing the theme of the Malignant, we thought it would be really cool to just have a place where the Malignant exist. A place players can farm if they want, a place where players can see a section of the world that the Malignant have completely taken over.
There is a presence that seems to be guiding and helping spread some of the Malignants throughout Sanctuary.
This Malignant abomination feels a little different. It seems to have something that it wants. It has a goal. The answers to what those things are really at the core of the quest line.
Seasons give us a chance to try out new ideas and push our technology and storytelling into new directions.
There's so much for our players to uncover this season, including new legendary powers, monsters, unique items, bosses, and quests.
We can't wait for players to experience the season of the Malignant.
Play Diablo 4 on Xbox Series X.